Hello, my name is Professor Karen Knopfsinger, and I am here to show you today the importance of adding alt text to images. And today I'll be giving a brief description on how to use alt text images in Canvas, Word, and PowerPoint. The reason why alt text matters is because screen readers rely on alt text to describe images to users who can't see them. Alt text also supports inclusive access. For example, when images don't load on slow internet. Also, alt text supports accessibility expectations, and it also reduces any kind of legal or ethical risk. An important reminder is that if an image carries meaning, that meaning must be available in text. One of the first steps that you need to do when deciding whether or not to use alt text is to decide, is the image decorative or if it's informative? For example, if you take a look on left where I've indicated a decorative image, you can see that this is an example where no alt text would be needed. Some examples would be dividers, decorative icons like the question mark here, stock banner photos. Again, you would mark those as decorative. No alt text is needed. And when making that decision, ask, would students lose anything if this image disappeared? Then on the right, you can see that I've got an informative image. And as a humanities instructor, there are a lot of images that are used in the course. And so it would be important for someone who needs this accessibility to be able to understand the image for the purposes of analysis. So you can see, does that informative image, does it support the learning objective? Some examples might include charts, diagrams, artworks to analyze, screenshots with instructions. If that's the case, you want to write a concise, specific alt text example that communicates the purpose. So it's important to ask when making this decision is, what would a student understand from this image? Moving on, step 2, writing good alternative text. You do want to describe what matters for the lesson. You want to keep it short. Add a period. So screen readers will pause naturally. Name the key thing, then the key action. You want to avoid leaving the default file name. If there's a default file name, whenever you upload a file, you want to replace it with a description of that file. You want to avoid starting with picture of or image of. You want to avoid overly long descriptions that don't serve the task. You want to be accurate and check your content. Next, moving on for the Canvas demonstration. In Canvas, whenever you add images, whenever you go to insert the image, and when you highlight the image, you'll see that a box will pop up that says Image Options. And in that case, you want to go ahead and add your alternative text example. So here are the step-by-step instructions, clicking the image options. You want to replace the file name or alternative text if it is there. And also you want to check if it's a decorative image. But in this case, for my example, I've got a prehistoric cave painting from the Hall of Bulls in Lascaux, France. And so I'm putting in the description there. For a Word document, again, you'll want to select the image. And after you have completed your document, you want to click on Review, and then you want to check for accessibility. When you do that, you'll see that the alternative box will pop up. And at that point, you'll make the decision to either replace it with alternative text, or you can mark it as decorative. If you are using generative AI, which many times the AI will pop up and give it, you do want to check for accuracy there. Here I've got an example for a PowerPoint. Again, the same steps in that you'll click on the image, you'll go up to the review toolbar, check your accessibility, and again, view the alt text. It will pop up for you. And if it is a informative image, then you'll want to replace that alt text with a description, a short description. All right, so here we can do a practice. For this shot, I've used Lily's impressionist image. And so here you would go ahead, because it is for instructive purposes, you would do alternative text. For example B, I've shown you a decorative divider, and for that you would just simply mark it as decorative. Pro tip is, if it doesn't teach, don't force a description. So a quick checklist before you publish. Every meaningful image has concise alternative text. Don't use a file name. Decorative images should be marked decorative image. Alt text matches the lesson purpose, when students should notice. Charts and diagrams include the key takeaway. And then spot check your Word or your PowerPoint files in viewing your alt text. And of course, if it is on Canvas, you want to run your accessibility checker on the page. All right, so that was my step-by-step demo. Thank you for watching.